Matt from the Trade Brigade here doing a technical analysis on ticker symbol FB for Meta Platforms, or just better known as Facebook. On the left-hand side, we have the daily time frame, and on the right-hand side, the 30-minute intraday time frame. First things first, this will, of course, be an update. We talk about the stock regularly here on the channel, clearly continuing its descent lower after the devastation from the earnings gap down. There is no signs of this trend reversing just yet. You can still see as well the massive amounts of volume that are still flowing out of the stock, right? Not necessarily in, but out, based on the fact that we're moving lower. Obviously, sellers are overwhelming the buyers at this point in time. So below us, we have support around 207. Let me illustrate where that's coming from on a 2-year weekly. Let's grab actually a couple more years here. We'll go with 4. Why not? And there we go. Okay, so 207.24 is coming from this major pullback on the weekly chart. After that, what you'll notice is that this directional move higher didn't have a whole lot of structure in it. So we'll go back a little bit further in time and start to look at 174s roughly as a whole number. You'll notice shelf of support. I'm not really going to call that support in there, but we do have a candle low. It breaks, retests, so on and so forth. And to me, that's kind of all we've got underneath us. There's not a ton of market structure there that's really going to come saving the day. If we crack 207, 200, the nice round number, it's not looking great if this downtrend does continue here. So let's go back to the daily and talk about, will this actually continue? And of course, the candle that printed on today's session is just a little bit of indecision, right? So it's not really all that impressive in terms of trend reversal here. Sure, it means the buyers are making some sort of a front, right? The sellers had it here, they brought it here, sellers brought it back here. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, there was some buying activity, but it's nothing that's really screaming, hey, full-blown reversal underway. So that's what I'm seeing on the daily. Let's take a quick look at the 30-minute time frame. Of course, in yesterday's video, we were pointing out the descending channel, right? So you could do something like this and just make note that we are, in that channel here, and it's respecting it, right? It's still well within the channel. There's nothing really saying that the trend is reversing. We clearly have a new lower high, potential for a lower high here, but more importantly, a new lower low was set on today's session. So everything's pointing to the downside still. If you want to be a long player in Facebook, it's all about breaking that resistance trend line, probably the primary at this point in time. You could draw in a secondary, something that would look like this. Even that kind of broke into the close here. So not too useful. It was either going to break sideways through time or upward through price. Again, not really something, when you start getting to lines that steep, not overly useful. So to me, breaking this primary is really the next thing that needs to happen if the trend is going to reverse to the upside. And when and if that does happen, we're looking at a move to the top, or bottom of the gap, the top of this range here rather, up around 248, right? So that to me would be the area where this starts to become interesting. Maybe, and we talked about this yesterday as well, we build out some sort of inverted head and shoulders. I mean, very, very speculative. That has obviously not happened yet. Nothing about the daily chart would suggest that, but I'm just thinking out loud with you guys. So that's all I've got inside of Facebook. It does look like it could continue lower just based on the fact that the trend still is intact. We're a little bit far from the primary resistance trend line, so maybe there's a bit of a reversion to the mean, quote unquote, if you will, and then we roll over after another significant lower high off the primary, right? So that's another possibility here just for trend continuation. I probably wouldn't be shorting Facebook right now, and the reason being is just because it's so oversold, right? If you were to look at the gap and then add on all of this additional selling pressure here, this is not the time to be initiating the short, right? The time to initiate the short was either before earnings, or if you missed that, and obviously no one would have known that the gap would have been this severe, but the short was underneath the low of the doji bar, right? So to me, you're chasing it now if you're looking for downside inside of Facebook, and if there is a rally, it's going to be a rip your face off rally, and you're not going to like it if you're holding either short put or, long puts, aka being short Facebook, or just short shares, right? So that's what I'm thinking about here. If you enjoyed the video today, the commentary, thinking about, where we're kind of at, let me know in the comments section or by giving the video a thumbs up. Don't forget our main channel is linked in the description, and all of that being said, I wish you a green trading week.